Hello, my name is Paul Lomax and I'm a member of the product management team here at SPT LabTech. Today I'm here in the lab with my colleague Kamila Kaprowska, who's a field application scientist, and she's going to be walking you through NGS Library Prep on the mosquito HV genomics system. Mosquito HV genomics is actually a liquid handler that uses a unique positive displacement technology that enables users to work with a range of liquid sample types. So from highly volatile samples through to highly viscous samples. And this is great for genomics applications which use some quite challenging reagents. It also allows you to miniaturize library prep. So we can go down to volumes as low as 0.5 microliter, and this typically enables miniaturization up to 10 times normal volumes. The benefits for users are that they can dramatically reduce costs. So for the same budget, get a lot more data for their work. So with that, I'm going to hand you over to Kamila.
Thank you, Paul. Today I'm going to use NextEra-XT as an example of how the mosquito HV can be used for the library preparation. So within our intuitive software, you can either use predefined experiments or you can create your own experiment. But if we look at the NextEra-XT, within a couple of clicks, we can get the script ready for the mosquito to run. The very first step is to define what kind of plates you use for your mosquito deck. You can pick up them from the different folders. You can put also your favorite plates at the top. Next step is to select your miniaturization level. In case of the NextEra-XT, we can miniaturize your libraries down to 12.5x, so the final volume of the library is 4 microliters. Next, you define how many samples you have and where are your samples within your plate. Let's imagine that we are going to do the full plate. Automatically, the reaction plate and index plate are predefined. And finally, you decide where is the source of your samples. So we have the pigmentation mix, neutralization mix, and the PCR mix. Once all the selection is done, move to the run page. And within the run page, you can see the number of tips required for your experiment, as well as the volumes of your reagents per well. Once you are ready, you hit run. Before you run your experiment, you can always check how the experiment is going to look like. If you are happy with this, just accept and hit run. The very first thing is that mosquito is changing tips to ensure that only fresh set of tips is used. And on the screen you are going to see the progress and also description what is currently done. So at the moment, mosquito is aliquoting, multi-dispensing the first reagent. It doesn't change tips because the plate is empty, and every single time it needs reaspirate, it will do it automatically. You can also observe what happens on the screen, on the plates. Now it's moving to the plate with the samples. It's going to aspirate 400 nanoliters, dispense and change tips between the columns. Once the incubation is complete, we can put the plate back on mosquito deck, hit resume, and mosquito automatically restart, adding another component, in this case neutralization buffer. And again, we can see the instructions and we can take the plate for incubation. After incubation, plate can be placed back on the mosquito deck. Now is the final step of the library preparation, which is the amplification. Indexes are going to be presented in a 384-well plate, and our PCR mix is already in a source plate. So after going to resume, mosquito will first add the PCR mix and finally copy the premix indexes. And libraries are ready for the incubation thermal cycler. Once the amplification is complete, we can move on to automated miniaturized bit cleanup procedure. On the screen you can see the final step of the previous reagent setups. We can go to the bit cleanup, and similarly to the previous steps, we can specify how our deck is going to look like just by dropping the plates of the interest, including the magnetic plate, which was specially designed for mosquito genomics. Finally, you can set up and specify the variables, the volumes, the ratio. You can specify exactly where are your plates of interest and where you want to put, for example, your supernatant, and where you would like to transfer your final libraries. And similarly to the previous steps, we are specifying where are our reagents, so the bits, ethanol, and elution buffer. As you can see, you can specify more than one column as the source. Finally, we are moving to the next step, show plates, and once you are ready, you can hit run. As the very first step, mosquito is going to transfer bits from the source plate into the libraries. It's mixing on the aspiration to ensure that bits are homogeneous and there are not too many particles at the bottom of the well. After incubation at room temperature, we can put the plate on the magnetic block and just resume our protocol. Now we have the pause for 70 seconds. It's the time needed for bits to be pulled to either left or right side of the wells. And after this pause, software will restart automatically. Mosquito now is going to wash the pellets. We use here 4.5 microliter of 80% ethanol.
Thanks, Camilla. Hopefully that's been a useful overview of how the mosquito HV genomics can be applied to NGS Library Prep, and in particular to miniaturization and the advantages that brings. We also can run 96-well plates. Today we focused on 384-well plates, but the same instrument can be used for 96-well plates by a simple change of the tip spool. If you'd like to know more about how you can apply mosquito HV genomics to your application, please contact us.